Hello, AVAIYA family. I'm Andy Anderson. My partner Ike Allen and I are teachers, mentors, and the co-owners of AVAIYA University. AVAIYA is the creator of over 1,000 books, films, courses, teachings, and other supportive resources. Thank you so much for joining us. Our fellow teacher, Marni Battista, is with us today to talk about 4 days to healing from betrayal. Marni is a transformational leader, dating expert, and relationship coach. She is the founder of Dating with Dignity and the Institute for Living Courageously. Having been married for 17 years, divorced, and successfully dated again in today's complex social environment, and now happily married, Marni understands what it feels like to be lonely and feel sick of wasting time going on dates and having relationships with unavailable men that go nowhere. Through her own journey to find love, Marni felt called to create a process to shorten the journey for other women suffering from the inability to create emotionally safe and fulfilling intimate relationships. And she discovered that creating this process was truly the mission of her soul and purpose. Welcome to AVAIYA, Marni.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we've got background on you now and why it is that you do what you do today. So let's dive into betrayal, this being this topic today we're talking about, right? So why do people struggle with getting that person who betrayed them out of their minds, out of their hearts, all that?
Well, a lot of things, but mainly what we find is, and I'm going to go like right to the deepest part of it, is that there is an unresolved childhood wounding. On our campus, we call it a little who, and we have lots of little who's that are of all different ages. And that part of ourselves feels that same experience that they did at that time. And some of those are even pre-conscious times. And so what happens is when we get betrayed, right, it's like there's another pass of the train down that old track, and it feels really familiar. And it's as if why we're asking, why did this happen to me? Or what did I do? Or why did this person betray me? What we're really almost saying is, why did mom, dad, surrogate, whoever raised me do this to me? Why am I not loved? Why am I not enough? And so what happens is we can't answer that question. Those are questions that cannot be answered intellectually. And even when we know the answer, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if we know it intellectually. And so what happens is we just keep running that train down the same track again and again and again, and we can't answer it. We feel out of control and we don't feel safe. It's really hard to get that person out of our heart and out of our head.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the what'd you say, little who's? Is that how you
the little who's? Okay.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it, right? All the different ages that we experience various things as children that tend to, yes, continue to show up in our adult life when, right, left, I guess, unaddressed for so long. So that makes perfect sense. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah. And I think this is a really important piece because I know a lot of people who are watching this are, you read the book, you have the t-shirt, you know that. It's like, you're like, yeah, Marni, that's not rocket science, right? But what I think is really important is that awareness of it does not heal it. Right. And so that's why I think people get super frustrated, is because, and you can know your attachment style and you can know all of those things, but it's really the work of the healing and really addressing at the core level with that part of yourself needs to be healed. It's almost like if you imagine being a teenager and your parent or someone came to you, it's like, I know this is really hard for you. And and you're like, yeah, you know nothing. Right? Your little who is like, I don't care that this makes sense. I don't care that this is what the therapist said, or you underlined this in the book. And so that's what I really want to just give everyone permission. You're not doing it wrong, and you are totally capable of being healed. It's just that you have to kind of walk through the right portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because absolutely we can be aware of all sorts of different things from our past, our things that hold us back, attachment styles, all those things that you've mentioned. But yes, awareness, obviously we must have the awareness in order to heal it, but that's not the only step, right? It might begin there, but then there's much other things that need to follow that in order to actually do the healing. And I want to dive deeper into, right, what that process is in a second. But first, I'm
Mhm.
curious, right, what would you say are the wrong questions to ask when
Mm.
someone's struggling with this betrayal? And why do you think these questions would stop someone from healing?
Yeah. So, why did they do this? Right? Like, why did he do that to me? What did I do wrong? What did I not see? What did I miss? Why does this always happen to me? Um, why didn't I notice? I mean, all those questions. Why do I keep attracting this into my life? Again, all those questions don't provide that healing. And for a lot of those questions, we'll never know. The core underlying message of a lot of those questions is really coming from a place of I'm flawed. There's something wrong with me. And so the whole framework or foundation of those questions is not going to serve you in healing or moving forward.
Right. Yes. And those are right common questions. I'm sure that so many people watching or listening right now can relate to the whys. Getting into the why is always a kind of dangerous thing to get into, because you can really kind of drive yourself crazy with all of that and not get anywhere in the process. So I appreciate you saying that.
The other thing that I think is really important too is that for a lot of so this is sort of like another little who, right? Or another part of our brain. We call it sort of like you're addicted to the drama. Not that you're really addicted to the drama, you like the drama, right? But how many of us, and I've been, girlfriends cheated on, like all of it, right? The guy that I dated after my divorce cheated on me with like the Jeopardy girl, the girl who turned over the Daily Double. I was like, I was like, how, from everything from how did he meet her to like, doesn't he know she's a blah, 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 like all those questions. Right. And so it's just really important to kind of understand that I am flawed question. It goes nowhere, and it triggers this part of our brain that it feels familiar to be in the drama of the Daily Double girl, right? And so we might ask those questions of ourselves, but also to other people, right? And we get into all, and then we feel alive. And for some people, that is how they experience love, right? Or that feeling of being alive is in the drama of it, right? In the challenge of it. And so that familiarity, if you trace it back to something in your early childhood, your life, maybe that's how love was expressed or experienced, was like drama, right? So again, those questions can also feed that really unhealthy part of what makes you feel alive or makes you feel like that's what love is.
Right. Yeah, that is such a great point. And I'm so glad you mentioned that like feeling alive part. And I'm curious, right? For people who are wondering, right, if they feel alive when there's drama and betrayal and all of these things, then what does it feel like to have a normal, healthy relationship where you're not experiencing drama or toxicity or what have you?
Well, it's such a great question. I was just talking to someone yesterday, and she was like, when I've done enough therapy, I know what the healthy guy's like. She's like, and I go on these dates, and either it's really boring, or just went like after 6 or 7 dates, it starts to sort of feel good. And I sabotage, I'm like, looking for things that are wrong with him, or picking a fight, or I get really scared and it feels vulnerable. So I pull away, and then I create some drama. Right. So what happens is, and this is a really important thing and a great journaling question, which is like sort of, how did I experience love growing up? Right? Was it like a martyr love? Like if you love people, you like, you put them before. Was it achievement? Love is through doing well, right? Like that's how I experienced love growing up. And it's a great thing to look at, because then it makes perfect sense why you want that drama, right? Or why, when there's the perceived experience of boring, right? It doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like that thing is missing.
Mm-hmm. Right, that aliveness is missing. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And once again, going back to the childhood, the little who's and what they experienced, right, growing up. Obviously, if they had a lot of drama between their parents, let's also write that modeling that I personally experienced that for sure. So, what would a relationship be without crazy, crazy fights?